Today, we're looking at circumference and area of a circle. How do I find the circumference and area of a circle is our essential question. I am learning to find the circumference and area of a circle is our learning intention. So you've got about 6 different warm-up problems there. Find A, find B, find the measure of K, J, M, and L, those angles. So pause the video and see if you can do that now. Well, I do hope you tried. So as we're looking at this, the first thing we want to do is to find all those arcs around the circle. And I know a circle is 360 degrees. So I'm going to take 360 degrees. I'm going to subtract 110 plus 130 plus 54. And I will get okay, so 360 minus 110 minus 110 plus 130 plus 54, and that gives me 66. So this is 66 degrees, that last arc. That's a funny looking 6, but that's what it is. Okay, so if I'm looking for A, these two arcs, because this is where my angle is, it's an inscribed angle. These two arcs make up that intercepted arc. So for A, it is going to be 54 plus 66 degrees divided by 2. And that will give us 3A equals 3A. Now what? Well, 54 plus 66 is 120. Half of 120 is 60. Divide by 3. And A equals 20. That would be 20 degrees. Okay, so hopefully you realize that B, this 4B, is equal to 66 plus 110. Plus 54, well no, 66 plus 110 divided by 2. Okay, 66 plus 110 gives me 176. When I divide it by 2, I get 88. So 4B is equal to 88. Divide by 4. This one I can do in my head. And B is equal to 22 degrees. Okay, so all of these angles we're looking at are inscribed angles. Their vertex is on the circle. So if I'm looking at the measure of angle K, here's K, it comes out it will be half of this bigger arc. It will be half of 54 plus 130. So 54 plus 130 is 184 divided in half, and we get 92. So K will be equal to 92 degrees. Oh, that didn't come out very well, did it? Let me erase that and then redo. 54 plus 130 divided by 2. Okay, for J, what is our intercepted arc? Here's our angle J. It's composed of 110 and 130. Goes all the way around. So 110 plus 130 divided by 2. And we end up with 120. 240 divided by 2 is 120. And that would be 120 degrees. So let's look at angle M. Here's M. It comes out to here. 66 plus 110 would be 176 divided by 2. And you end up with 88. We also could have used this here, which would have told us 88 also. Measure of angle L. If I'm looking at L, it's that 3A, 3 times 20, which would give me 60. That would be 60 degrees. So hopefully, even though you couldn't see what I was writing, you were able to get it down, and you're just checking your answer now. So take a minute. I'll give you a few seconds to check and make sure you understand what we've just done. So that takes us into circumference. The circumference is the distance around the edge. It also might be called the perimeter. So there's two formulas you can use. The first one is pi d. If you've got the diameter, all you have to do is multiply it by pi to get your circumference. The second one is 2 times pi times your radius. If you know your radius, you multiply it by 2 to get your diameter, and then multiply it by pi. So if we're looking at the first one, my circumference is equal to, what's my diameter? 0.4 followed by the pi. That is your actual length, and that would be in yards. Okay, what if we wanted to just approximate it? Well, we've got a pi symbol that is right above this caret. So we've put in 0.4, hit our second button to get the pi, then we hit enter. And it is approximately 1.256, which would be approximately 1.26. Once again, that would be yards. For the second one, we've got our radius, so we'll use the second formula. So it's 2 times pi times 32. Two times 32 is 64. And this would be pi. Once again, it's in yards. Once again, that is your exact measurement. If we want the approximation, we will type in 64 and then grab the pi symbol, and we get 201.091. So this is approximately 201.06 yards. Hopefully that was a little bit of a review, nothing new. And what about the area of a circle? The area of a circle is the amount of space inside its boundary called the within its boundary called the circumference on a two-dimensional plane. If it was three-dimensional, it would become a sphere. So it's the amount of space within its boundary called the circumference on a two-dimensional plane. The formula for a circle is pi r squared, where r is the radius of the circle. So if we're looking at the area of the following, we've got to know our r. So for the first one, r is equal to 91. And that would be yards. So our area is 91 squared pi. What is 91 squared? It's going to be a big number. $8,281. And this would be pi, and this would be yards squared. That is your exact. What is the approximation? I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it by pi. And I get 26,015.53. And 53 hundredths yards squared. Okay, for the next one, what is our radius? Well, we don't know the radius, but we do have the diameter. The diameter is 2 times the radius. So my radius would be 9 divided by 2, which gives me 4. My area will be 4 squared pi, which is 16 pi centimeters squared. You notice since its area, it's in units squared. Your circumference, your perimeters are always in straight units. Okay, so what is it approximately? I'm going to type in 16 pi, and I get 50.265, so it's approximately 50 and 27 hundredths. Once again, centimeters squared. Okay, for the last one, if we know the area, how do we find our radius or our diameter? In both these cases, we're looking for the diameter. So our formula, area is equal to pi r squared. Here's our area. 16 pi is equal to pi r squared. Guess what? I can divide by pi on both sides. And I get 16 is equal to my radius squared, r squared. Last step is to square root. And 4 is equal to my radius. That would be 4 centimeters. So for my diameter, 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So my 8 is my centimeters is my diameter. And that would also be what x is. On the next one, we do not have pi, so this we will not be able to get an exact number. It's going to be an approximation. We set it up the same way. We use the same formula. So 50 is equal to pi times r squared. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by pi. I get 15.91. So when I do that, I would round up to 16. Or I can leave it as 15.91. It would be 9.2. And that is approximately r squared. Square root both sides. This time it's not as nice and easy as the first one. So I get my square root symbol, 15.92, and I end up 3.98, so that would round up to 4. And that would be 4 centimeters is approximately what my radius is. My diameter, I take 4 and multiply it by 2. That will give me 8 centimeters. Wow. They looked like they were about the same, and the radiuses were, so those are congruent circles. I know I'm successful when I can find the circumference and area of a circle. C is equal to pi d, or C is equal to 2 pi r. Area, pi r squared. Hopefully this was just a real quick review and nothing new.